The palace of Leora stood upon a mountain of silver stone that shimmered when sunlight washed over it. Within those walls, a tension pulsed as if the very structure sensed the storm creeping toward the throne. The kingdom had survived generations of conflict, yet no peace seemed stable. Rumors spread across the corridors that an unseen threat was coming for the royal line. Guards marched faster. Advisors whispered softer. And in the center of the tightening circle stood the queen, who carried more weight on her shoulders than her crown ever had. She had ruled with a calm determination for years. Her people believed her unshakable. Yet today her gaze drifted toward shadows. Today even her confidence wavered. The source of her unease walked just behind her. A tall human named Rowan was a visitor from a distant colony world and had served in the palace for less than a season. Yet he had already done more to protect the royal family than many lifelong guards. Rowan did not look like the warriors the queen commanded. He carried no ornate armor. His clothes were simple and worn. His stance had the quiet readiness of someone, shaped not by training halls, but by long, harsh years. He kept near the princess, the only child of the queen. The princess had chosen Rowan as her attendant after a chance encounter in the outer city, where he had shielded her from a stray charge unleashed during a rebel attack. Since then their bond had strengthened, and the queen had watched it with curiosity. The princess walked beside Rowan now. Her voice was soft as she asked questions about human customs. Rowan answered with patient humor. The queen observed the way the princess smiled at him, the way her steps matched his, the way Rowan subtly shifted to place himself between her and any potential threat. A distant thunder sounded. It came not from the sky, but from deep within the palace halls where a council meeting waited. Queen entered the chamber, and her advisors bowed. She sat on her seat of woven crystal and gestured for all to rise. The princess stood to her right. Rowan took a single step back, but remained close. The queen understood that others might question why a human outsider was permitted to linger near the throne. Yet she had seen firsthand the loyalty in Rowan's actions. An advisor stepped forward with a grim expression. The threat had revealed itself. A group known as the Shroud had crossed the outer borders. They were not a species, but a coalition of exiled clans. For years, they had been believed extinct. Now they sought vengeance upon the kingdom for ancient grievances. Their first target was the princess. The queen clenched her jaw. She gave an order to fortify the outer defenses. Her voice did not tremble. The hall emptied after the council ended. Only Rowan, the queen, and the princess remained. Rowan's brow was slightly furrowed. The princess looked frightened, but she tried to mask it. The queen's gaze settled on Rowan with a silent question. Could he keep her daughter safe? His answer came in his posture. He straightened, his eyes sharpened. His stance declared a vow words could not match. The queen dismissed them for the evening. She understood that the princess needed rest, yet she doubted her daughter would find any. Rowan escorted the princess through the long corridors. Liara's architecture cast shifting patterns of light across the walls. The princess paused when they passed the long window overlooking the courtyard. Warriors trained below. Rowan watched them quietly. The princess spoke first. She confessed her fear of the Shroud. Rowan listened without interruption. When she finished, he assured her that he would remain at her side. His tone was firm but gentle. She believed him. She felt safe with him in a way she had never experienced with even the most skilled royal guards. Rowan lacked noble blood or royal lineage, yet he held a strength that came from the spirit. Not ranked out later that night, the queen called Rowan to her private hall. She wanted answers. She wanted to understand why her daughter trusted this human so completely. Rowan bowed respectfully and waited. The queen asked him what drove him to protect the princess so fiercely. His reply was quiet. He spoke of the day he had arrived in Leora, seeking work. He had seen the princess disguised among the common folk, trying to understand her future subjects. When danger erupted, he acted without thinking. He shielded her because it was right. And now he would continue because it was what he chose. His choice was not bound by duty, but by conviction. The queen studied him for a long moment. His sincerity struck her deeper than she expected. She dismissed him, but her thoughts remained restless. She wondered if the bond between her daughter and Rowan would become something she had never imagined. She wondered if that bond would save them. The next morning alarms shook the palace. The shroud had breached the outer walls with frightening speed. Their weapons burned with dark energy that devoured the air around them. The queen rallied her forces. The princess was rushed to the inner keep. Rowan stayed at her side through every turn and narrow escape. Guards shouted. Walls trembled. The princess clutched Rowan's arm as blasts shook the floors. A squad of enemies broke through a side entrance. Rowan shoved the princess behind the pillar. He seized a fallen guard's staff. It was heavier than human weapons, but he used it without hesitation. He blocked the first strike. He disarmed the second attacker. He fought with a raw determination that startled both allies and enemies. The princess watched with fear and awe. Rowan did not falter. He protected her with relentless courage. When the enemies retreated, Rowan guided her toward the vault room, where a protective barrier awaited. But the princess refused to hide. She insisted on going to the throne chamber where her mother fought. Rowan argued. She persisted. Finally, he relented, but only after extracting a promise that she would remain behind him at all times. They reached the throne chamber after weaving through smoke-filled halls. The queen held the central line. She fought with regal fury. When she saw the princess, she shouted for her to stay back. Rowan placed himself between the princess and the battle. He deflected a blast meant for her. The queen's eyes widened at the sight. She understood in one instant the answer she had been seeking since the first day her daughter brought this human into her life. A massive enemy commander emerged, wearing armor forged from stolen royal metals. He targeted the princess. Rowan sprinted forward. The queen could not reach them in time. Rowan collided with the commander in a clash that echoed through the chamber. They battled in a storm of blows. Rowan's arms shook under the force, but he refused to yield. His body moved with a ferocity that came not from training but purpose. The princess screamed his name when the commander hurled him across the floor. Rowan forced himself up. Pain seared through his ribs, yet he moved again. The queen unleashed a blast of royal energy at the commander. The chamber shook. Rowan reached the princess and shielded her with his body as debris rained down. When the smoke cleared, the commander was defeated. The shroud began to retreat. The queen delivered the final command. Her voice rose with authority that shattered the enemy's resolve. Silence returned slowly. The queen breathed hard. The princess ran to Rowan, who knelt from exhaustion. She helped him stand. Her hands trembled over the bruises that darkened his arms. Rowan managed a faint smile. She scolded him for risking himself. He replied that she was worth every risk. His voice held no hesitation. The queen approached them. Her expression softened in a way no warrior had ever seen. She placed a hand on her daughter's shoulder. Then she looked at Rowan, as if seeing him for the first time. She recognized the truth she had tried to deny. This human did not serve her daughter. He protected her because he cared beyond measure. The princess leaned closer to him without realizing it. Rowan instinctively steadied her. Later, the palace gathered to restore order. The queen summoned the princess and Rowan to a private balcony where the horizon glowed from the receding storm. The queen asked the question that had been building within her since the moment she saw Rowan take that first blow meant for her daughter. She asked who protected the princess with such fierce devotion. The princess looked at Rowan, and her voice carried a quiet strength. She answered that it was her human. Rowan felt a heat rise in his chest. The queen absorbed the reply with deep contemplation. She approached Rowan. She declared that the throne owed him a debt. He responded that he needed no reward. She insisted that gratitude must be expressed. Rowan bowed in acknowledgment, though he did not seek honors. The days that followed shifted the balance of the palace. Rowan remained near the princess as new defenses were built. People began to speak of the human who stood against the shroud. They whispered that he moved with the spirit of a soldier, despite lacking formal rank. The princess continued to learn from him about human traditions. He learned from her as well. Their differences faded as understanding grew. The queen watched their connection deepen. She did not fight it. She studied Rowan's actions until she trusted him not only as a guardian, but as someone who respected her daughter's spirit. Slowly she allowed him closer to the royal circle. Advisors questioned her choice. She silenced them with a single command. She reminded them that loyalty was not bred by bloodlines alone. Weeks passed. Leora healed from the attack. Rowan was granted honorary rank within the royal guard, though he wore no ceremonial armor. He preferred simplicity. The princess often walked the palace gardens with him. The queen sometimes joined them, though she kept a dignified disdain.